Hey everyone, welcome to Patriot Soapbox, where I give you my commentary on the news of the day as reported by Wall Street Journal. First up, today and yesterday there's the NATO summit because it's the 70th anniversary of NATO being founded in 1949 to fight Russia, or rather to make sure Russia didn't trample over Europe. Which begs the question: given the Soviet Union has been gone for 28 years and the Cold War's been over for 30 years, why do we still need NATO? I mean, it's clear that over the past decade or so, most of like like the U.S.'s main foreign policy concerns have shifted more towards the Middle East and East Asia than Europe. So, do we really need NATO? And if we don't, then maybe we should form get rid of the current NATO and then make a new NATO in or well, it wouldn't be NATO because NATO is North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Maybe we could do North Pacific Treaty Organization with our Pacific allies. Like maybe we could rope in, maybe we could take, or maybe just the Pacific Treaty Organization. Maybe get still U.S. and Canada. Then I don't know, Australia perhaps. Look at my globe here. What else is around there? Philippines, South Korea, Japan, New Zealand. We make a sizable little alliance out there. That'd work. That's. I personally think that NATO. There really is no reason to have NATO because there's not really much of a need to, fight Russia or be scared of Russia anymore because Russia's sort of fallen to irrelevance on the world stage. That's my view. But I'll get back to that in a minute, the NATO thing in a minute. First, let's go back to some domestic stuff. First up, the impeachment report says the president abused his office, which we all knew that was coming. Like we all knew that they're going to say that. No matter the results, they're going to say that Trump abused the office or whatever. Also, though, the founders of Google, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, have decided to have officially stepped down from the company to retire and live off their billion-dollar fortunes, and are instead laying the current CEO Sundar Pichai, they're letting him officially take over things. Like they're completely leaving the guy's already CEO, but they still retain sort of a role in the company. And how they're gone, they're not gonna work with it anymore. And then let's see. On that is presidential campaign, with the impeachment starting away from two people and their presidential races. Steve Bullock, but let's be honest, you really cared about Bullock's campaign. And then Kamala Harris is out. Now, when I read that, I was kind of surprised that Harris dropped out. At first, I was like, what? She was doing well for a while, but I mean, to be fair, she did drop down to 3 to 4% support in the polls. So, okay, she's not really doing that hot. But main reason, her main reason, she says, is money, because as always, she decided to, kind of trash billionaires. She's like, I'm not a billionaire, so I can't run a presidential campaign. Yeah, well, neither is Hillary Clinton, and at least she made it all the way to the convention, to the DNC, and she won the nomination, and she narrowly lost the general election. So, you don't need to be a billionaire to win. You don't need to be a Donald Trump, Tom Steyer, or Mike Bloomberg. You don't need to have all that money. You don't need to have that money. You just need enough people who combine have enough money to support you. That's how it works. Yeah, there's that. There's the whole money issue. There's also the fact that she's treating her staff poorly. Sometimes moving them across. Some of her staffers said that they were moved across the states, and then they were just fired without notice. That's crappy right there. And then she also she was trying to capture the quote unquote Obama coalition, especially African American voters, but just couldn't really do it because Biden kind of sucked those away. And then finally, she had no clear strategy, no clear message, mainly relying on the fact that she's a black woman to win, and her record as a prosecutor is suspect because according as Tulsi Gabbard pointed out, at one of the debates, she withheld evidence that would until the courts forced her to release it. That the evidence eventually released a guy from a death sentence. A death sentence. She withheld information that where she tried to that would have kept a guy a lie that would, and without it, he would have been executed. That's horrible. It's a horrible record as a prosecutor. So after her going 15 minutes of fame, bashing Brett Kavanaugh, and then last fall, and then this fall bashing Joe Biden on his school busing record, and then saying that she supported him anyway. She lost her moment in the spotlight. So don't let the door hit you on the way out, Kamala. Yeah. Yep, losing more of the weak ones, huh? Back to international stuff, though. So Trump got himself the awkward position of actually defending NATO because he's bashed it up until Emmanuel Macron, France's president, said the alliance was brain dead, and Trump's like, hey, NATO's made great progress in 2.5 years, which is of course the time that he's been president, and he's actually held a lunch today that for 9 countries, counting himself. Those 9 countries are the only ones who kick in the required 2% of GDP on defense spending to be in NATO. To put it in perspective, there are 28 NATO members. 9 are paying their fair share. That's not even close to half. And so the countries there would be like the United States, UK, Greece, Estonia, Latvia, a few others. Well, let's be fair. 2% of Greece's GDP is like a tank or two, maybe a few soldiers or a jet, but really. Greece has so little of an economy that mean 2% of the GDP, easy. The U.S., for the record, regularly meets about 3 to 4%. Now it's closer to 4% because Trump boosted military spending. But yeah, and Trump also had to spend the night at Buckingham Palace, so pretty nice for him. Then there's as for USMCA, which by the way, with that trade pact to replace NAFTA, that was signed last year. Only Mexico's government's approved it. Still waiting approval from Canada. I'm not sure why. And the U.S., I know why, because Pelosi's stalling it. She's pulling Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell stalled all judicial nominations after Republicans gained the Senate in 2014, because this was his reasoning. He thought that since the presidential election would be 2 years away, if a conservative won in 2016, then he can nominate conservative judges to fill the vacancies under the Obama administration from 2014 to 2016, which included a Supreme Court justice as a spot eventually. And if a liberal won, then it'd be like, whatever. You guys lost 2 years. Quit crapping about it. That was his logic, and it paid off because Trump won. And instead of nominating Obama's pick to replace Antonin Scalia, they nominated Neil Gorsuch. Oh, then again, Democrats probably behave the same way if they won the Senate if Trump would have won in 2020 and then Democrats won the Senate in 2022 and then Ruth Bader Ginsburg was announcing her retirement, they'd probably do the same exact thing because they're like, Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the political left is comparable to Antonin Scalia on the right. So all I'll say is that Pelosi's doing a similar thing with USMCA. She's waiting until either Trump is impeached or he's voted out of office in 2020 so she doesn't have to vote on USMCA. She's buying her time. But then again, they need some sort of legislative victory if they want to have a record to campaign on 2020. So who knows? But yeah, the Mexican president's getting a bit annoyed now, and so is the U.S. trade rep because trade reps bent over backwards for Democrats and for Mexico, and still nothing. And popping over to the op-ed section, we have an op-ed is critical, as I said, of Pelosi's never-ending trade demands. Mexico just wants the U.S. and Canada to pass it, but they are supportive of her demands because they're all demands that would give Mexico a leg up and the U.S. essentially a step down in trade. So of course Mexico's going to support it. But Mexico's also annoyed because just pass the law already, northern neighbors, U.S. and Canada. Come on. So, yeah. There's an op-ed also that says that Adam Schiff's impeachment report, it makes it it's, again, what you'd expect, but it makes him seem triumphant. It's basically I didn't want to impeach Trump at all. It's such a grave matter. It weighed heavily on my heart. I mean, it's such a grave thing kicking out a president, but do what he calls, and I gotta get rid of this son of a bitch. which is not exact at all how it went, because as Rashida Tlaib very eloquently said, we're going to impeach the MFer when she was as soon as she's sworn in. So they all came to Congress trying to impeach the president. They were trying to impeach him before he was even president, or they were at least making plans to. So there you go. Okay, if you want to know if you want to know how long they've been doing it, 3 years. And so the country suffered for 3 years because some old hag named Hillary Clinton couldn't get her turn to be president. Oh dear. Then next up, there's an op-ed saying that Michael Bloomberg is essentially destined for failure in his campaign. One, because he's not gonna be able to get into the debates with his because he's not accepting donations. Although he's trying to change that, they're trying to get them to. I think he's trying to see if the DNC will give him an exception because he has the money, but he's not technically getting donors. But also, he checks off all the boxes for a Democratic candidate, or most of them. Supports gun control, supports higher taxes, supports more restrictive climate change preventing measures. He's good. He's right there. Up to that point, he's like a model Democrat. But first of all, there's stop and frisk on his record, and then second, the fact that he's rich. So besides, Democratic candidates most Democratic voters are saying they're pretty satisfied with the current selection of candidates. Bloomberg's only running in case Biden fails. So, kudos to him for making sure that there's at least there will be some moderates. It's not so that the country's not faced with the prospect of a Warren or Sanders presidency, but still, he's probably not going to go anywhere at this rate. And then finally, Elizabeth Warren has sort of a contradiction in her campaign platform, or in her speeches. On the one hand, she seems to be pretty opposed to the idea of a big business monopoly or near monopoly. So, she wants to regulate big banks, big tech, big pharma, all these industries where there are multiple companies. There are a lot of little banks. There's there's some small clinics, but they're really dominated by the big guys. By banking industry dominated by the big guys like Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, all these big banks, right? And it's not much story with big pharma, like Pfizer's up there, and a whole bunch of other companies, Bayer. So they're all up there, and Elizabeth Warren wants to break them apart and bring them back down a little bit. But on the flip side, she supports one monopoly. She supports a government monopoly on healthcare, which is 1/6. It's about 1/6, 1/7 of or so of the entire U.S. gross domestic product. That's a big chunk of the economy, if you think about it. And so she's not really opposed to monopolies then. She's opposed to the big business monopoly. Maybe she should specify that. Is the government, there's op-ed asked, says that she could just clarify that, but really, in practice, the government is not better than business at this kind of thing. And then perhaps maybe the issue is she really does care about covering more people and making sure everyone has health coverage. Well, then why not just give it to them instead of taking over the entire healthcare industry? Why not have the public option or subsidy for insurance if that's really the goal? While not both those ideas are bad ones, they're at least better than Medicare for all or something that drastic. So I think Warren, if she wants to, she's plummeted pretty far in the polls, but if she wants to get back up, maybe she ditch Medicare for all. Other than, again, that's really the only thing he's running on. That's all I got for you in this episode of Patriot Resell Box. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more great daily content.